What's going on, guys, and welcome to another edition of the RPO College Football Podcast, your favorite college football podcast. I'm your humble host, Jerome Jones, and we got my man, the myth, the legend. You know who it is, Mr. Ray Roberts right over there. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, Jerome. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great. Ready to get into some football, get my mind off of some things, and, looking forward to talking to you, man, as always. Yeah.
Good. Awesome.
We got some time before the season starts. So, it's gonna be interesting to see how that goes. We're gonna talk on our last couple of topics today. We're gonna move on to something next week. But any kind of little news or anything like that you heard lately, Ray?
No, just nothing really
Yeah.
very interesting. It's kind of like a dead spot right now. So
Don't you love this time of the year where there's absolutely nothing to talk about?
I would like it better if the Phillies were a better team.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's just baseball. Basketball just ended. We talked about this last week. Football, all the camps are kind of like done right now. We are waiting for some big named recruits to sign on. Ohio State just got a couple of wide receivers. They just landed. As always, you shouldn't be surprised about that. I think the only other thing I want to talk about, have my condolences for Jaylen Ferguson, a guy that I got to meet at the Senior Bowl. It's unfortunate that he passed away. I'm not 100% sure on the story. Honestly, I haven't really been seeking out what the story is, but they hear about him passing away. So my condolences to him and his family, and let's see how that goes. And hope everything with the family will be resolved and they get some peace. It's hard. So it's a hard situation. Not sure if you heard about that, Ray, but
I did. I also heard like 2 hours ago that Tony Siragusa passed away also.
Oh, I did. You know what? It's crazy. I seen his picture just up, and I didn't realize. I didn't even I'm so I got a lot of stuff going on right now, so I haven't even been able to look at the news like that. And I did see his face up there, so man, that's crazy. And that's two Ravens. That's two Ravens.
Yep.
That's crazy, man. It's crazy how the world works, man. So
yeah.
But let's move on. I'm sorry for starting off a little in dark for you guys, but we are going to go on to our last segment on these rankings of each conference, and that's what we'll be continuing on. And as you see right down at the bottom, we will be doing the independent teams. So before we start, guys, if you see right down there, you see something a little different down there, that's that QR code. If you want to check us out, if you want to follow us, if you want to support Inside the Hashes, please go right down there. Inside the Hashes is supports RPO podcast and the Air Up podcast. So if you didn't know, now you know. You can scan right down there. Follow us on all the social media. Check out our website. It's newly designed and everything like that. So you can definitely check us out right there. Again, it's an interactive podcast. So if you're in here right now, you want to ask some questions, you have some things you want to talk about, some college football stuff, related stuff, please, put it in the chat room. We'll put your comments right in the chat room and answer them for you. But let's just get right into it, Ray. The independent teams, I know this is your kind of realm because your team is in this area right here. And we're gonna rank them. We got 7 teams. I've ranked them from 7 to 1. Ray, you ready?
Yep.
All right, let's go. You got number 7.
Number 7, I have New Mexico State. They only won 10 games last year. They're not a very good team. Mm-hmm. They have Jerry Kill as their head coach there, who's trying to get the. I mean, it's just tough because they're not really known much for football. They're more of a baseball team school. So
yeah, they're a big baseball team school.
They are. So they have a pro football program, and I guess every year you're hoping that you get good recruits and you come in and make some noise. But I don't remember New Mexico State ever being really good. So
Yeah, it's funny you picked them at 7 because I don't. When I looked at the list, I was like, wait, New Mexico State's an independent team. Like I didn't even click to me that they're an independent team. So I always see their name out there for baseball and stuff like that. You kind of forget about them with football a little bit. and I think that is probably the reason because they're independent and their football team's not that good. So it's like,
Yeah, again, I know their baseball program is much better and is actually competes at a solid level. So I just don't, again, I don't want to spend too much time on them anyway. So at number 7, I mean, at number 6, I have Massachusetts. They only won one game last year. Their coach Don Brown is I think he's been there 3 seasons now, and again, they're an up and down team, but they've had some decent teams. It seemed to me like the last time they were good was when Temple was good. They were actually a decent team back then. So I haven't seen them really compete at a high level in the last 3 years. I think it's been 3 seasons since they were actually half decent. But I mean, we'll see how they are. At number 5, I have Connecticut. Jim Moore Jr. is their head coach, and we know he's a defensive coach. So I would expect them to be a solid defensive team, if nothing else.
Yeah, UConn's a good basketball school too.
Yeah, they're a big time. Yeah, man. Well, UMass has a good, solid basketball program.
Yeah.
That's why it's funny. Like these teams are more like basketball, programs than football. But Number 5, I have Connecticut. Again, UConn is again a very good basketball program, and they have their seasons when their football team is not too bad.
So. Yeah, they have solid guys. I mean, they do seem to produce like 1 or 2 NFL players every once in a while too. So
they do
something right over there. It's just that you can't put it all together.
I mean, they have Jim Moore again, who's been an NFL coach, so he does have some experience at that level. So. Again, I mean, we'll see how they go. They're up and down, so hopefully we'll have an up year. But they only won 1 game last year, so anything is up from that probably. Yeah. So
for real.
Number 4, I have Army. This is where like the better team. The Army was a 9-4 team last year, a good solid team. Jeff Monken is their head coach. Again, a guy who's a pretty smart offensive coordinator, does a good solid job there. Good running team. They have 2. I'm not crazy about a 2 quarterback system, but they do have Tyler. I believe his name is Tyler, and Cade Ballard. Yes, one is a runner and one is more of a thrower. But they managed to win 9 games last year playing that system, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it was very interesting. I totally forgot their names, but I did watch a couple of Army games last year, and they were a lot better than I thought they were going to be this year with that system.
They do have a good solid defense, and I excuse me, I always root for cadets, Army, Navy. So support those teams, and because those guys usually play hard. Both of those teams usually play hard on a week-to-week basis. So. Number 3, I have Liberty. They were an 8-5 team last year. Hugh Freeze is their head coach. They do have Charlie Brewer who transferred from Baylor playing quarterback this year.
Really?
So, yes. So we'll see how they do. Yeah. Again, they're a team that's been up and down. But they were 8-5 last year. It's not horrible. They're a top 100 team in college football this year. I mean, I think they're a good, solid team. And BYU is number 2.
Well, to get back to Liberty real quick, as you guys already know, Liberty lost their quarterback, so they're gonna be interesting because they have Malik Willis. Charlie Brewer is not a Malik Willis by any means. So we'll see how that goes. And I understand that why you got them at 4, right? I'm sorry, at 3. But it's gonna be interesting to see how they do because without Malik Willis. Are they going to still be up to that level that they were? I mean, they wasn't that good with him. They was solid. They were solid with a really good Malik Willis. Can it be the same or at least close?
I think Charlie Brewer is more of a system player.
He is.
Well, you could argue that he's a little more accurate than Malik Willis was last year.
Definitely. James said, yo, my guys. What's up, James, man? It's been a while. Good seeing you. I appreciate you being here. hopefully in a few weeks we can talk about week 0. Yes, man.
Yes.
It's a long time from now. We got a big dead zone right now, but we'll definitely see how that goes, man. I'm definitely dreading this time of season. It is the worst time of season if you're a super football fan like we are.
I mean, you still have some good prospects out there for recruiting.
Yeah.
More to mention a few,
Mm-hmm.
but the problem with that is now it's like, well, you're going to declare, maybe you're going to wait for during the season because that's what it's starting to look like. So
it's getting close to that. I mean, I think I got a lot of guys. I know a lot of people are going to start declaring the first 2 weeks of July, at least. After that, like you said, right, it's going to start looking into like, all right, they're going to have to most likely do it after the season, or right after the season ends, or right when it's winding down a little bit. So yeah, we'll definitely see, man. But Ray, let's let you get back to your list. Number 2.
Okay. Well, number 2, I have BYU, who's always a good run, good coach, well coached program. They're good defense, very good defense. Kalani Sitake is their head coach. Jalen Hall is their quarterback. Very good player, good athletic quarterback. They actually have Kingsley Suamatria, I hate that name, who is a offensive tackle transfer from Oregon. So he's going to step right in there and play left tackle for them this year.
Nice.
I like BYU. They're a good physical football team. Notre Dame does play them this year. So I'm interested in seeing how they are. I know one thing for sure. They're a good physical front, and they usually play pretty good football. So
definitely. No, yeah, and BYU's quarterback, what's his name? That was he was a freshman last year, right?
Jaren Hall, yes.
Yeah, so he's a sophomore now. Yeah, I heard some weird buzz about him. Like people think that he might be better than Zach Wilson.
You know what? His arm talent is pretty ridiculous. It really is, man. He is a talented kid. I mean, I think if you can put a solid running game around him, it'll help him out a little bit. But I think he's an interesting player. He is. So
yeah. I know a lot of people, and that was in that BYU fandom was talking about him a lot. That really thought he was going to be even better than Zach Wilson. So
it's funny, the quality of quarterback from BYU is actually better than people would think. I mean,
they have a solid crew. I mean,
they do, man. Like you always go back to. I mean, yeah, you go back to when I was younger, you had Jim McMahon, who won a Super Bowl with the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have Steve Young played at BYU. I mean, some good quarterbacks play there, man. I know Ty Detmer wasn't a great NFL player, but he was a good, solid pro.
Yeah, he's solid.
Great college player, without a doubt. So I mean,
he
solid program.
Yeah, I mean, some of those guys you just said was on my Philadelphia Eagles, so helped us out a little bit. They wasn't the greatest guys, but they helped us out. So I think
Ty Detmer had a nice, good, solid 2 or 3 years playing for the Eagles. He did.
I mean, he gave us some wins.
He was the epitome of a guy who threw the ball accurately, especially short to intermediate. So
I agree. So all right, cool. Let's get to your number 1, and obviously that's the only one left on your list. I would say you're biased, Ray, but I can't say you're not being biased. I can't say you're being biased, honestly, because it's not even close. It's not even close. And for me to be a Michigan guy saying this,
yeah, I mean, well, the only team that I think will be that's a good thing. The weird thing about the independents, we don't compete against each other. We do play each other at times.
Yeah.
But it's not like we're a conference. We're not really a conference. We're just
exactly. So you guys, y'all all play different people half the time, and that's it's.
I think it's weird though, because I'll be honest with you. I think if you put UMass in a I'm not going to say honestly in the Big Ten. I'm not saying they would compete there, but it would help them recruiting wise. You know what I mean? If you put New Mexico State in an ACC team, I could say again, not competing, but it would help them recruit kids because of the area they would be. It's just weird though. Like Army should be playing in a conference with Navy somewhere or Air Force. Them being independent doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Notre Dame is the one team, and BYU because BYU has a great tradition of good college football. So
Quick question, Ray. I don't know if you noticed. I don't know this answer, and I might be just asking a stupid question, but there is no stupid questions. When you're a program and you dedicate yourself to a conference, you have to be that conference has to be in every sport, or you can do just football, just what I mean? Because I know Marshall just went to the Sun Belt. So are they Sun Belt for basketball too? Like, how does that work?
I think that you have to commit to both teams, to both. I mean, that's why Notre Dame doesn't like. If Notre Dame could be in the Big East or the Big Ten, whatever you want, I think that they would think about doing that. But then they're already affiliated to the ACC.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do about that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So and here's the weird thing. In football, I'd rather play in the Big Ten. But in basketball, I'd rather play in the ACC.
Yeah.
I mean, so there's a fine line there. Like, which is more important? To me, it's football.
Mm-hmm.
It always will be. And I think to a little more football, because I know basketball really in this country is probably the number 2 sport right now.
Yes.
As far as fandom. It probably is football and basketball. And I think that football and basketball fans are kind of the same. They like the physical nature of it, even though basketball is nowhere near as physical as it used to be. Neither is football, really, when you think about it. But I think you like the physical nature, the athleticism in those sports. Mm-hmm. Baseball moves a little slow. To me, even though soccer players move fast, it's kind of boring for me. I mean, I'm not really much of a fan. I'm trying to keep it,
Keep my hands off that one.
No, I'm going to keep it real. I mean, I'm not really much of a soccer fan, but I understand the guys are very athletic.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I'm not ignorant. I'm just not much of a fan. I love hockey, but hockey is the one sport where if it's not the Flyers, you know what I mean? So,
Well, let's get back to Notre Dame real quick, and I want to know, and I know you hate when I ask this question to you, but can you give me a quick prediction of your record this year?
11-2.
11-2. Yeah. Who's the 2 teams you think you're gonna lose to?
Well, the first game against Ohio State is a tough game.
Yeah.
And then they play Clemson and Clemson. If you were to say to me, if you said what 2 games do you think, I don't want them to lose either.
Yeah.
I will be rooting for them not to lose either. But if you said to me what 2 games, the BYU game is in BYU this year. That's a somewhat tough game too. Mm-hmm. But I would say those at Ohio State. Oh no, you know what? I'm wrong. The Clemson game is in Notre Dame.
And it had to be a night game.
Yeah, so I'm going to say there's 3 games then. You got at Ohio State, you got Clemson, and at USC the last game of the season. Not that I think USC is as good as Notre Dame, but at USC at the end of the year could be a bigger game for them than it is for us. Depending on how, if we're in the playoff run or not.
Yeah, that team could definitely start clicking late. They got some.
I hate USC. I mean, I honestly, when I was a kid, I never have been a Michigan fan, but because I respect the Big Ten, I'm fine with Michigan. I don't like them, but I'm fine with them.
Thank you, Ray.
I used to hate USC when I was a kid, man.
Yeah.
I hated them.
Yeah.
God.
I can't say I hated them because they had a lot of good players that I liked, especially growing up, like Reggie Bush.
Michigan has good players.
Yeah.
Alabama has good players.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I can't hate them.
I do that. Same with Ohio State, yeah. But I didn't necessarily hate them, but I didn't like them either. So I hated
them.
They're there, So
again, you got to remember if it's like Michigan, except for again, I don't hate Michigan as much as I hate USC because they're like right in my backyard, basically.
yeah.
So I respect Big Ten teams. I don't respect Pac-12 or Pac-10 teams. I just dislike them, basically.
All
I mean,
right.
I don't. There's certain teams out there. I don't mind Oregon. I don't know why. I guess maybe that's why.
I
Because
don't mind them either, but they can. I feel like they can be annoying sometimes.
well, they come up small all the time.
Yeah. I
They
think
do.
that's what it is too, because they're so flashy. They got the
They have
100 different
They have
uniforms.
the cool uniforms. They get
They
they
just got
win
the,
a decent amount of games. They recruit fairly well, and
yeah. They got the
they
new locker
never
room now that they
win.
always displaying.
Here's this. You know what's funny? That's why people bust on Justin Herbert, though. Oh, he never played in big games. No, Oregon has traditionally never played well in big games.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's true. It's true. All right, let's get to speaking of big games and big teams. Let's talk about the SEC right now, Ray. I know this is what everybody was waiting for us to talk about. SEC is what everybody, huh?
Not me. Nah, just kidding.
SEC is basically like the god of college football, and everybody wants to
You know what?
about them and talk about.
Can I touch base on something really quickly?
Go ahead.
You know what? It looks like Notre Dame may be out of the Damon Moore now or Dante Moore.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know what's going to happen with Michigan. There are some Michigan fans that I know that still think they're in the running. I guess maybe they are. I don't know what
because he's sending a lot of mixed messages, man.
Well, because he's trying. I think he's just trying to go.
He just had a second. He just came back from Michigan. He just went back again.
I want to just commend the Big Ten teams and Notre Dame and other teams like that don't pay their players outright and make it like it's pretty like anybody who doesn't know what's going on in the SEC the last 30 years, you're just stupid. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
I'm done.
Yeah, let's move along.
Yes.
All right. Let's do this right. So this is a 14 team conference split up into the East and West. We're gonna be talking about the whole conference, not gonna split it up, but let's get right into it. Ray, number 14, who you got?
To me, 14 is easy. It's Vanderbilt. They only won 2 games last year. They do have Clark Lee as their head coach for the second year in a row. He's a former Notre Dame defensive coordinator. If he struggles again this year, maybe he'll be wishing he stayed at Notre Dame. But he's a good defensive mind. He really is. So I'm expecting them to get better. But let's face it, man. For the SEC, it's not going to be easy. Pretty simple,
Yeah.
So, and number 13, I have Missouri.
Okay.
Missouri's a weird team. Like, they have their moments, but this is not going to be one of the years where they have their moments. I
tell you, like about a year or two, they was looking like they might have something going on with that team, but
no, but they're coming off a 6-game season, winning season, and I think really, I'm not sure if they're going to win that many games this year, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they were a pretty strong offensive team a couple years ago, and they were pretty good, but hard time since then. So, number 12, I have Auburn. Brian Haskins is Harsons is their head coach. What's that?
I said, oof, Auburn.
Falling like a rock.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't get again. You're playing in the SEC. It's not going to get any easier, So, see how things go. Number 11, I have South Carolina.
Okay.
South Carolina is a weird team because they do have their moments, but again, I could see them winning 7 or 8 games this year, but I don't think they're going to be much better than that. Again, this is a loaded conference, man. It really is. The top 4 or 5 teams in this conference are really good. You can even go 6 or 7 maybe. I'm not going to go any farther than that because that's where I have LSU.
So with you having South Carolina, I think you said number 12?
11.
So South Carolina is number 12. Do that with the addition of Spencer Rattler, is that making them a little bit higher on your ranking or you're a little bit lower on your ranking? You know, kind of seems
I think that they're going to be a 8-win team, which will be one game better than last year.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know where. Am I going to get Spencer Rattler from last year or 2 years ago?
Even you saying that, right? Like you mean like the second half of 2 years ago? Because then, like, yeah. So
right,
it's really hard to judge that guy, really, honestly.
I mean, like he went there because Shane Beamer's the former offensive coordinator of Oklahoma. It's fine. I hope it works out for him because he's a talented kid. Yeah. You know what I mean? He has talent.
Mm-hmm.
Does he have talent here? We're going to find that out. But he definitely has physical traits to work with, without a doubt. So, you know.
Great.
At number 10, I have Mississippi State. Mike Leach, head coach, of course, throws the ball 50 times a game. And he's got Will Rogers this year. So, again, I think him and South Carolina are going to be very, very close, like 7-8 win teams.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the funny thing is, I think that whatever team can find a little bit more balance will be the better team.
Yeah.
We're going to see if that happens, though.
Yeah, and when you look at Mike Leach's team last year, he was very heavy on a passing game. He would not run it for some reason. When he ran it, they played well. So
right. Well,
you gotta learn how to, because he had that one game. What game did he play against? What team did he play against? That was like he blew them out, and everybody was like, "Whoa, this offense looked crazy." And then
it was early in the season. Yeah,
what was it?
It was earlier in the season.
Yeah. They had a really good game. I can't remember who they played, but they had
I don't remember that either. I do remember the game you're talking about.
It was like a record-setting game or something like that, where
they
had like tons of yards.
Yeah.
Then the next game, it was just like a complete flop, and they were just dead after that. So, he just gotta be able to adjust, man. And I feel like that was the biggest thing last year.
This is my one thing about teams that think that, like, and don't get me wrong, I know football is a pass-happy sport in general. NFL, college, the same. Like everybody thinks you can throw the ball 40, 50 times a game. That's fine because you do need to score points through the passing game because that's how you score points.
Yeah.
You know, really, but when you want to close out a game, you have to run the ball.
Yeah.
You can't run the ball. You can't close the game out. So there's always that shot. You have 3 and outs, and then the other team scores points.
Yep.
So you have to, and you can't just tell an offensive lineman to be on skates the whole game. Now I want you to plow forward. It doesn't work like that. It just doesn't, man. You need to be physical and aggressive and smart. That's why, like, people criticize, like I shouldn't say that. People will say Andy Reid doesn't run the ball well enough, and he doesn't run the ball a lot, but he runs in good situations.
Yeah. And he uses certain situations in the right way. Like instead of running, he might substitute a run with a screenplay,
right?
Or run with a.
Here's where I will go a little bit farther. When you tell me, because I used to always hear them say, "Well, the short passing game is kind of like a run game." Yeah, when you have good, accurate quarterbacks, when you have Patrick Mahomes, yeah.
And you got some yak guys.
Yes.
Kelsey, Tyreek Hill. I mean,
right. But when you have Donovan McNabb and the worst throw he throws is that 3-yard out, it's always not a good idea.
Yeah.
Like you got to know your personnel and what your quarterback is really good at. I mean, let's face it, man. Mahomes is a stud, and Andy Reid's not going anywhere for 10 years, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had people argue with me all the time, like Andy Reid's in a Hall of Fame, man. He's going to be a Hall of Fame.
Oh, 100%. Especially he got a ring now.
God, it's not even close no more, dude. He's going to coach. Probably he's going to be one of them guys that coaches till like when he's ready to die.
He should be
like 8, 9, 10, 12 games a year.
I would even put this on a lump. He should be a first ballot.
He should be. For like, if you look at like where he came from and how much he's advanced, him and Mike Holmgren, really.
Yep.
I'm surprised Mike Holmgren's not in the Hall of Fame. I'm really shocked by that stuff.
Wow, yeah. Man.
When you look at what they've done, don't get me wrong, we all know where it came from, Bill Walsh. Yeah. But what Mike Holmgren and Andy Reid have done is they have expanded it to where it's not 7, 8, 9 yards. Now it's 15, 20, 25-yard chunk plays with the West Coast theory. You know, I just – and Andy Reid and Mike Holmgren deserve a lot of credit for that advancement. So, yeah.
No, I agree. All right, let's get back to the list.
You got it. At number 9, I have Florida.
Okay.
I could have swapped probably any of the last 3 teams. I think that Mississippi, South Carolina, Florida all have comparable, rosters. I think that, again, if Spencer Rattler can be Spencer Rattler for the second half of 2021 season, maybe they're a little better than I'm giving them credit for. Maybe. We'll see.
Definitely. All right, man. I'm anxious to hear the rest of this list because you're getting us some teams right now, right?
Yes. Number 8, I have LSU.
Okay, because I was wondering, I was like, all right, he's still got LSU on there. Where he's gonna pick LSU? There's another team on there that you didn't say yet. I'm waiting for you to say.
Well, of course, we have. I gotta cover the whole Brian Kelly LSU thing.
Yeah.
Brian Kelly's at LSU this year, and even though Brian Kelly did a solid, some people would say very good job coaching Notre Dame, and he did, and he brought Notre Dame back to where before he got there they were not a very good team, and they were. So Brian Kelly has he reestablished Notre Dame and helped out with the tradition. I will give him credit for that. I won't root for him, though, at LSU, because instead of just saying, to me, the only thing they were sort of badmouthing Notre Dame, like, oh, you can't get great players there, and blah, blah. Why? Because you're not paying them? All right.
Next team.
Okay. Number 7, I have Tennessee.
Tennessee. There you go. That's the team I was waiting for.
Tennessee is a weird team.
Yeah.
I like Josh Hooper, their coach. I like Hendon Hooker, their quarterback.
Yeah.
They are a team where they could finish anywhere from 4 to 7. Right now, I have them at 7. Okay. Coming off of last year, they were a 7-6 team. I think they're good. I think their quarterback is solid. If he can advance and get a little better, maybe they'll be a little better than that too. But right now I have Kentucky at 6. Mark Stoops is their coach. I like that. I like him a lot. I like Will Levis, their quarterback. I think they're an up-and-coming combo as a coach-quarterback type of a team. I think that right now I could see Kentucky finishing anywhere from 4 to 6. Right now I have them at 6. So.
Yeah, and a lot of people have Levy right now in the top 5 quarterbacks in next year's draft. So.
They do. He's like that. After the top 2 or 3 guys, he's the next guy in line where you keep hearing his name a lot now. And he is a big athletic kid with a lot of upside. So we'll see what happens. Definitely. Number 5, I have Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin, everybody's buddy. The head coach there, of course.
Who's their quarterback? Jackson
Dart, who's not a bad player. Great name for a quarterback, Dart.
Yeah.
I like that.
He was the one that took over for what's his name last year, right?
Yes.
Bo Nix. Yeah. He's
a good solid player, man. But again, I don't like Lane Kiffin. I think he's a little bit of a strange guy, but he's a very good offensive mind. He is. He calls good games.
Hey, Jim Harbaugh is a weird guy too. So
they're all a little weird, right, man? Or they won't be head coaches because they're all a little inclusive, right? They're just that guy. But I don't know. Like you hear a lot of weird things about Lane Kiffin, though. So I'll leave it.
No. I hear you.
Number 4, I have Arkansas. Sam Pittman, their coach. KJ Jefferson, their quarterback, an athletic kid who I really like a lot. So we'll see how they go. Arkansas is, again, they're one of them teams that are like up and down sometimes, but they won.
It's going to be a lot better.
What's that?
I feel like the defense is going to be a lot better.
I think it would be better this year, too. I'm just not sure if they're going to win more than 9 games again this year, 10 maybe. I think they won 9. They were 9-4 last year. We'll see how it goes, So, okay, number 3, I have Texas A&M. They are
rightfully so.
The run team where it's funny how the 2 guys that did the most bitching about the MIL stuff are the 2 guys that should just keep their mouth shut because they bend the rules as much as anybody. But they're the 2 guys talking the most. That's funny to me. No, it is. It's funny to me. But yeah, man, Jimbo Fisher is a good coach.
Yes.
He's a good, solid paying recruiter. So he does his job. And
I see what you did there.
But I mean, again, man, Texas A&M, I'm sure, you don't care what I think. Mm-hmm. I think he was a little bit hurt that Nick Saban called him out a little bit.
Yeah, they're boys.
It's football, man. You know who your buddy is? Your last coach, okay? Don't believe that any of these other guys are your friends, dude. They're not. They're just trying to suck the knowledge from you so they could be Nick Saban, okay? All right, man? Mm-hmm. All right? And that includes sometimes writing checks.
Yeah.
So it's all good. Oh, no, right. They don't write checks. They just give cash. I forgot. Okay. Number 2, I have Georgia.
Okay.
I thought about putting them at number 3 because I'm not sure how their defense is going to be this year because they've lost a lot of players.
They did, but at the same time, I know they got a lot of talent still on that team too.
Oh, they will. That's why I still got them at 2.
Yeah.
You can't lose your 3, every level you lost.
On defense. Yeah, they lost. No, they lost 4 defensive linemen, right?
Yeah, but I mean, they lost linemen, they lost linebackers, they lost defensive backs, they lost everything. Now, are they going to be good? Of course, they're Georgia.
Yeah,
they recruit well too. I'm not sure how much
they lost people, but I know they recruit
well.
Who they lose on offense? They lost both of their running backs on offense.
They did.
They lost a wide receiver, Pickens.
Mm-hmm.
Still got their quarterbacks.
They still have Stetson. They have Stetson Bennett. Though.
Yeah. Your boy. Your boy.
That's funny, man. I just don't.
But yeah, they lost a lot, man. So
they did.
It's gonna be interesting. They still got the talent. It's more about the camaraderie. They might struggle a little bit in the beginning of the season. They might be, honestly, right. They might be the Alabama of this year. Last year's Alabama, we knew they was gonna still win games, but it wasn't winning Alabama type wins. There were some of them.
It's funny though. Alabama is one of the teams where they don't really get me wrong. They like to pour it on when they can.
Yeah,
but they're comfortable just winning a close game if that's what it takes that week.
Yeah, but in previous years, they will play these smaller teams and they'll be blowing them up by halftime in their second group begin. And we got so accustomed to that, where this year it was like they'll go into halftime only 14 points up, or sometimes even 7 points up. They'll still be up. They will never I think only once or twice they was trailing at halftime, but they'll be 7 points at halftime, 14 points where we're used to 20 points, things like that. So I think it's going to be the same deal with Georgia, where I think they're still going to be laser focused. I don't think it's going to be like a championship high with those guys. And I'm saying this again too because I am in this area and I get a lot of Georgia, vibes and hear a lot about what's going on in this area now. So I don't think this town got over that championship really, really fast, honestly. And I feel like they laser focused on the next season already. I've been in a championship town when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, and that was lingering. That thing lingered. So it's different. It's a different vibe down here. I feel like they won it and on to the next one already down here, honestly. Just from hearing how they are down here and things like that. But like you said, they lost a lot, but I think they still have a lot of talent, and I think that is going to be like the Alabama situation last year, where they,
See, here's my thing though, Jerome. They only have 2 remaining starters on defense, so that means 9 guys are all going to be different guys.
yeah.
And
they play y'all first too.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, like, don't get me wrong. Nolan Smith, he's a good football player. Jalen Carter, I like as a player also, but I mean, you can't. I just don't see how they can't. Well, for one, they were 14-1. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just not going to happen. I mean, that's not going to happen. And people down there can say, "Oh, your next one, dude." If Alabama didn't lose both their starting receivers, they wouldn't have lost that game.
Mm-hmm.
So if Georgia, don't get me wrong. If I was Georgia, I'm ecstatic. Yo, man, we won, blah, blah, blah. And of course, you have to think, well, what can we do to win again this year?
Mm-hmm.
But if I wouldn't be willing to take any amount of money, they don't win again, man. I mean, honestly.
It's hard to win, man. It's hard to win.
Oh, yeah, it is, especially when your main rival is like the team that just is the team.
So, the team, correct. And then obviously number 1 is Alabama. What can you say about Alabama, right?
Bryce Young, Will Anderson, 2 of the top 5 players in college football.
Yeah. I mean,
what else you got to say?
Not only that, but their wide receiver core still looks really good. Offensive line. It was a little shaky last year. I think they will be not better because they lost Evan Neal, but I think they'll be a lot more solid this year. They still got their tight end. Forgot his name. Obviously they always go with running back, and I think they just got what's the running back they just got transferred to them?
Trey Sanders.
Trey Sanders. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just transferred over there. I think he's going to be really good. And I think they're going to try to run a little bit more than last year. I still think they're going to be a good team, right? I really do.
Again, man, they had Bryce Young.
Yeah.
Really fine. Their offensive line, they have 3 returning starters on their offensive line. That's, I mean, like, they have 7 starters from their defense last year.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to destroy teams this year.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
The worst thing that could have happened is they lost that championship game last year to Georgia.
Yeah, they're going to come into this year.
Look at their schedule right now. Utah State, Texas, Louisiana Monroe, Vanderbilt at Arkansas, Texas A&M at Tennessee, Mississippi State. There's not a game there they won't be favored by at least 10 points.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, like, they don't even play Georgia, which I think is a travesty.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. And I know, we'll play them in a championship game. Good for everybody, like in January. Great. But come on, man. I hate that.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of my issues last year with Alabama because they play a lot of, like, soft teams. And we talked about that, too. And just to add on to what I was saying earlier, we were talking about it last year where I was like, man, like, I think Alabama might struggle a little bit. They got a new quarterback. They lost a lot of their receivers. This is not. I think they're going to struggle early on, but catch on. And I really did play well. But, like, the way they struggle against some of these smaller teams in the beginning, because they had a lot of, like, winning teams starting off. And they usually do, honestly. They usually do start off with, like.
They play Texas week 2, right? By the middle of the third quarter, Texas like, are we really going to go to this conference in a couple of years? What are we doing?
Let's go back. Let's go back.
We're going to do this every week? What are we doing?
Man, that's going to be funny. That's going to be a good game, though. That's going to be a fun game to watch.
I think it is going to be. And like, honestly, at Texas, at Arkansas, at Tennessee, at LSU, at Ole Miss. They won't lose any of those games, but they should be decent games to watch.
Oh, yeah.
And if
they got a better schedule this year for sure. That's
right.
For sure.
And if Alabama is that good that they're not good games, then geez, come on, man.
Yeah.
Look out. I just think like I look at how much talent Alabama lost like the last 3 years, and then look at their roster. How do you have Will Anderson on your team for 3 years now, and last year he became a great player? Like,
crazy.
DJ Dale. I mean,
yeah, man. That
it's
Alabama team always replenishes.
It's not fair, man. It's not
and
fair.
I think that's another reason. And I know you keep kind of alluding into it, and I keep dodging the question, but I think that that's why you starting to feel some pressure a little bit with some of these NIL stuff, because now teams are like, let me get in on this pot, because if it's always going to be Alabama, I got to kind of do something to pick my leg up on the situation, And, I'm hearing that Mr. Deon might take another Alabama guy soon. So, and I can see why Nick Saban got a little defensive on the subject, because he's like, dude, like, you're taking my guys that I always have been getting. I want to stay on top.
How is he getting them?
Huh?
How is he getting them?
How's he getting there?
No, how is he getting them? Is he doing it fairly?
Who, Deon?
Yeah.
That's not for me to answer. That is not for me to answer. That is not for me to answer.
What do you think?
I have no idea. I'm not in that area.
Well, they're not a big program, so they don't have money to just throw at players, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to be like, oh yeah, they're a small team, they're not gonna da. But you got to think about the guy that did get. He was a DB, and it's Deon, historically black college. Deon been doing some great things down there, so I can't necessarily be like, oh yeah, he bought him, Travis Hunter. That's who we're talking about. But it's like, it could be, yeah. You're right, it could have been. But then the kid could have been like, yeah, I want to make history. I got Deon Sanders in my corner. He's probably going to help me get to the NFL. So,
yeah, man. Not to mention that you have a lot of defensive backs. The last few years have been getting drafted out of smaller schools. So I mean, like, yeah. I just don't understand the whole problem with it. Yeah, man. As long as it's NIL money he's getting, and it's not money just getting thrown at him from the teams itself, who cares? I mean, I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, he will. If I'm not mistaken, he was just on a cover of Sports Illustrated, I think it was. So he's gonna, I mean, this is Jacksonville State. You ever seen Jacksonville State on this cover of Sports Illustrated?
Well, is that a bad thing?
No, it's not at all.
I mean, like, what is the problem then? I mean, I don't get it. Like, I don't understand why it's a problem. SEC teams have been throwing money at guys for 30 years, man. Again, like, do you think Joe Namath went there from Western PA because nobody paid him? Who do you think paid for his Mustang? He didn't pay for it.
Yeah.
So come on, man. Like, this has been going on for I said 30 years. I'm being friendly. I'm being nice. Like 60 years.
It was.
So, I mean, they only put these sanctions and these rules and levies in the NCAA to stop the SEC teams from cheating.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're all complaining about each other.
What can you do, man? What can you do? Yeah. So I mean, yeah.
It's like
they have the rules all loose like this, so that's
like claiming it's like claiming that you're an you're an abused spouse, but you're the abuser.
That's a whole other copy right there too. That's
like, honestly, it'd be like me complaining like my wife beats me up, or her complaining I do, but I'm doing it really. I mean, like, come on, man. Like,
yeah.
So I mean, I understand like why are people complaining about, man, Deon is a name. He always has been. I've been hearing about this kid since he was a junior in high school.
Mm-hmm.
He's always going to be a name.
Yeah.
Deon Sanders, man. He's probably
on time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even a fan because I like corners at tackle. But I will say this.
You had to get that jab in there.
I did. But I mean, Deon is one of the great cover corners of all time.
Yes.
And anybody that can doubt that, go watch soccer, okay?
Well, that's gonna do it for us today, guys. We do appreciate you getting on, guys. As always, definitely make sure you go down there, right down there, and hit that. Right, whatever. You see it. It's on the screen. This QR code. Scan the QR code. Make sure you follow us on there, guys. And make sure you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You find all our great content. especially on YouTube. That's our number one spot. So make sure you go like and subscribe down there. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe down there. If you wasn't able to watch on the live broadcast, we understand. It's okay. Go rewatch it on YouTube and put your comments at the bottom. We comment back on every comment, unless it's crazy. If it's crazy, I'm just gonna leave it alone. I'm not gonna go there. But we will comment back on there. So make sure you put your comments down there and let us know how we doing, man. Let us know if there's something that you want to talk about or we missed. Definitely put it in there. If you like if you like Ray's rankings, if you didn't like Ray rankings, let us know. Put it down in the comment section. You can also check us out on our Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts, where we have a lot of player interviews on there as well. We do have some on YouTube as well, so make sure you go check that out. Inside the hashes, search Inside the Hashes. Also, make sure you check us out next week, because next week we're going to be doing a top 25 rankings, our personal one. So I'm going to have a rankings this time. Ray's going to have a ranking, top 25. I know there's an AP right now. We're not even going to go by the AP preseason rankings. We're going by our own. So we're going to put it in. We're going to talk about it right there. So make sure you do that. So again, go at the bottom right there, scan that QR code. Make sure you go follow us, and that supports Inside the Hashes. So I'm Jerome Jones. This is Ray Roberts. Thank you guys so much for checking us out. Before we get off, Ray, any closing words, sir?
Yeah, Alabama's probably going to be my number one ranked team next week.
Yes.
Probably.
Yes, it will be. So I know they're going to put up number 5, put Notre Dame number 1.
No, I wouldn't do that. I mean, I'm not going to get into it too far. I mean, right now Notre Dame is ranked right outside the top 5. I'm hoping they finish in the top 5, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because, like, as you guys know, I'm a Michigan fan, and I don't even know where I'm going to pick my team. I really don't. So it's going to be interesting to see where I actually rank them, because I don't know. I would love to put them in the top 10. I'd love to, but I don't know. I'm gonna be real. I'm not gonna be biased about it. You might see a little bit biased with a team that's close to it, honestly.
You know what's funny? Notre Dame got CJ Carr.
Yes.
We talked about last week. Okay. He's a Michigan kid, blah, blah, blah. And apparently his mom put out on Twitter that no top 5 quarterback or 4 or 5 star quarterback wants to go to Michigan and hand the ball off for 30 times a game. I don't understand did she not watch Michigan dominate up front last year?
I heard the same thing, Ray. I seen that too.
I mean, I just don't understand. Okay, I'm happy that Carr went to Notre Dame. I am. I really am. I think he's a talented kid, and I'm glad he went to Notre Dame. But I just don't. I would never criticize a team for running the ball if you're winning games.
Didn't she go to Michigan?
She did go to Michigan.
Weird.
That's part of the problem, though, Jerome. I think some people don't like Harbaugh, and you just have an axe to grind with him.
Yeah.
I really do. I think that they don't like Harbaugh. So a lot of this hate that you get about Michigan is from alumni and other people that don't like Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, I can see that.
I can see it too, but win games. I don't care. I don't have to like you if you win games.
Exactly. You win games, you all go. Yeah, you guys already know the last 2 years before that, I was calling for that man's head. Calling for his head.
Yeah, man, I could sit here and think about what teams have won championships in the NFL and in college football, and probably out of the 100 championships I've seen, maybe 5 of them guys were nice guys, dude.
Yeah.
Okay. And the other guys were all ball busters. That's what coaching was back then. Mm-hmm. And to a certain extent, that's what Nick Saban is now, right? And isn't he the best?
Yes, he's definitely the best.
I mean, you can say what you want. The only difference I think there is in the NFL, you can't always be that guy. Like Bill Belichick can be that guy, but Sean Payton can be that guy because they've always been that guy, and they're a little bit old school. I think if you're a new coach especially in the NFL, and a certain extent in college football, when you're talking about kids that are highly ranked kids coming into your program, you have to be able to make sure their egos don't get in the way, and make sure that you're making them feel good. I don't know how else to say it. stroking their ego, I guess you would say. So I mean, there's no right or wrong way of doing it, man.
Yeah,
That's the problem. It's all it comes about. Like, do them players on the field believe in what you're coaching? It's all that matters.
100%.
Yep.
But that's gonna do it for us today, guys. Thank you so much. Make sure you go check us out next week because we will definitely be getting our top 25 teams rankings with me and Ray Roberts. So once again, we do appreciate you guys. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Have a good one. Stay safe, and see you then.